one of the biggest questions business owners have is my marketing working? Is it working? And how do I know if it's working? And what should I look at to know if my marketing is working? So let's talk about that because I have done easily over 100 marketing audits. At this point, I'm a marketing strategist with over 15 years experience. So I have been deep inside many businesses, digging through their data, figuring out what makes their business work, how to get more clients, and how to build on what's already working. And that's really the point of a marketing audit, is to understand what's working, how do we replicate it, and how do we fix what's not working. So when I am working with a business and I am looking at their marketing, I am doing a whole audit. I am not just looking at social media. I'm not just looking at their email. I am looking at their marketing holistically because that's how people buy. People don't just see social media posts and immediately buy for most businesses, especially service businesses, which are the kind of clients that I work with. I work with service-based businesses who serve clients. That's what they do. So in those instances, for the most part, that it's not that they're seeing a social media post and immediately making a purchase. It's not that they are going to your website and immediately deciding to work with you on a big package or make a big purchase. This is something that takes time, and understanding what your buyer is doing, where your clients are coming from, where your audience is coming from, and where things aren't working is really important. So when I work with a client, the first thing that I do is I have a big intake form, and then I spend about an hour on the phone with them asking a lot of questions because I have questions after having just done a quick overview of their business, and then I want to get deeper ideas of where their challenges are before I go deeper into their marketing. So once we have that initial call, then I am looking at their website, and I am looking at both their website as far as like what a consumer sees, but I'm also looking at their analytics to see where their traffic is coming from, which pages people are visiting, where people are falling off, which pages seem to be attracting people versus are not at all attracting people, what's working in their marketing and what's not working in their marketing. And then I go across to their social media, and it is the same thing. Which posts are doing well, which ones should have done better than they did, but did not for whatever reason. What completely flopped, where is their audience coming from, what is the demographic information of their audience. And usually in that phone call or just knowing about the business, I can guess some of that. And obviously, I've also asked the business owner where their sales come from, what they think is working, what they think isn't working, where their challenges are, because I am overlaying that information on top of the data that I'm gathering, because I write a big, nice, juicy report afterwards and we go through it. So I've looked at their website. I have looked at every page on their website, put myself in the position of somebody who has never been here before. If I wanted to make a purchase, if I wanted to learn more about this, what are the paths that I would do to get there and how can I fix that? Then same thing for their social media. There's usually things that are almost every business, especially if they are doing their own marketing, they've done the DIY route, or they have hired contractors over time. What happens is it's like layers of paint on a wall. It just kind of gets thicker in some places and thinner in others. And sometimes it cracks and it just doesn't look as nice as we would like it to. So that is also part of the work that I'm doing, is how can we make the entire marketing package cohesive so that if somebody is interested in working with them, they are taken care of at every step of the way. So social media, email marketing is the next thing that I look at. And again, I am looking at who is on the list, what are they reacting to, what are the open rates, what should have done well but maybe didn't, where are their welcome series, what are the automations, what are their landing pages, trying to get a holistic picture of if somebody was coming into this world of this business, what do they need to know, and are they getting the information that they need to know in a way that's going to appeal to them to make them want to move forward, or is there something that's going to be a little bit off-putting or a little bit jarring or disconnected marketing. And at the end of the day, every business that I work with wants more sales. That's almost universally, that's the goal. Now that may take time and we may need to build the processes to get to the more sales, but the goal is to get the more sales. So the questions I'm constantly asking, in addition to how does somebody become a buyer, but why isn't it working the way that the business owner thinks it should work, or the way that it seems like it should work? What is missing? And then also looking at the analytics, looking at the data and pulling out the noise, the things that don't matter, helping the business owner understand what to look at versus what they don't need to worry about. And those vanity metrics that sometimes pop up, like how many followers you have, is not nearly as important as how people engage with you, because You can buy followers. That's not hard to do. So I don't care necessarily about the followers. I care more about the quality and what they're doing across all of the different platforms, including email marketing, because you have your subscriber list. So when we're talking about what's working, what's not working, then we're building the path of how do we fix it? If a business owner wants more sales and they're not getting more sales and they've been doing these 5 things, in those 5 things, what's working, what's not working, what can be improved, and what's missing? Because again, if a business owner has been doing their own marketing, there's only so much they can know, right? There's only so much information one human can absorb while they're also trying to run their business, run their life, do everything else and make sales on top of it. Because what I'm looking for is how do we make those results sustainable? Because I don't want my clients to only have 1 month of sales. I want them to have long-term sales growth over time that is sustainable to them, that isn't going to burn them out, that makes them feel good about their marketing. And that is whether they're doing it themselves, whether they're working with a VA, whether they're working with me to implement their marketing for them. What we're looking at is not just a short-term fix, but we're looking for how do we fix this in the long term to get the results that they're looking. One of the most common things I see when we're talking about this is there are gaps, right? The business owner has this idea of what their client looks like, what they want. And most business owners are really tuned into that. But there's still going to be gaps in marketing, either from them not knowing that this was an option, not understanding a platform as well as they could be, something else that is we haven't discovered yet, where there is a gap where we see new clients coming in, but then they fall off. And our goal is to figure out where are they going? Why isn't it working? How do we build that bridge to make it easier for them to complete the sale? That's really what we're looking for when I'm doing a marketing audit. And then at the end, they have this big report where it breaks down. This is what's happening with your website. This is what I see. This is where the gaps are. This is what can be improved. This is for your social media. These are the gaps. This is what can be improved. Same for email marketing. Same for networking or PR or outreach or whatever it is they're doing. The goal is how do we find what's working, identify the gaps, fix the gaps, and make it work long term. So that is what a marketing audit is, at least the way that I do them. The reason that I do them holistically instead of just focusing on SEO or just focusing on email marketing is that buyers don't only look in one place. Think about the last time you bought from somebody that you didn't know, that was a business that you were interested in learning about. You probably had a couple of steps. Unless it was an impulse purchase, you probably took multiple steps and checked them out in different ways before you decided to make a purchase. And so that is why I look at marketing holistically instead of seeing it only as one option or only one platform, because it's just not how people buy anymore. They have so many more options. We want to make sure we're taking advantage of every single opportunity to turn that browser into a buyer. If you have any questions, drop them below. I would love to hear what you think.